Welcome to Cult Macabre, a phantasmagoric guide to pop culture's dark side. I'm Richie.
And I'm Lee.
Today we are discussing Halloween, the holiday, not the movie.
I don't know about you, but this is definitely probably my favorite holiday of all time to talk about.
This definitely is my favorite time of the year. It's fall, it's cooler outside. Unfortunately in Louisiana, that's a hope and a wish that it would be cool outside. I think it was sweltering last Halloween.
Where I'm from, the leaves are already changed in color and the bugs are dead at this point, so...
The dead bug holiday.
It's the best part of the year.
Dead bugs?
Yeah, not getting bitten up by mosquitoes while you're sitting out across from people at a bonfire having a good time. I'm about that.
Mosquitoes. Nature's vampire. So anyway, let's talk about the holiday of Halloween. There's a lot to get into, but I don't want to get into so much that you're here all day. Just want to touch on a few things because there are several places that you can read or listen about the holiday. Most of them are going to try to feed you the Christian bullshit that took over Halloween, but I would like to get into actual things to do with Halloween, like the pagan portions of Halloween, the Celtic parts of Halloween, just not too deep dive, but let's just talk about it because not very many people actually talk about these aspects of Halloween.
Yeah, for sure. And we've definitely struggled with, Christianity bastardizing the holiday. But it did originate in Ireland and Scotland as the Celtic or Gaelic pagan festival of Samhain. And it actually wasn't even popularized or brought to the U.S. until around the 19th century. And they celebrated it for so long before then with their various rituals and beliefs during that time of the year that this particular point that separates the end of the harvest season from the beginning of winter, essentially.
Yeah, because Samhain is really end of summer. That's kind of the whole thing about it is it's end of summer. And it was a celebration. A lot of people were like, oh, it seems like it's not a celebration thing, but it very much is a celebration in these parts.
Oh, absolutely. And they would dedicate more than a day to it. Sometimes it would be upwards of a week, 3 days before Halloween or All Hallows Eve, and then 3 days after as well.
Look, all I'm saying is that I started celebrating Halloween after the 4th of July, okay?
You're well prepared by the time October rolls around.
Yeah, it's year-round for me, truly, but whenever people start looking at calendars and oh yeah, fall's here, it's time to start celebrating Halloween at the end of September, I'm like, motherfucker, no, I start celebrating this shit midsummer.
Bitch, I done been there.
I've been there. Where you been? Yeah, again, Samhain, not fucking Samhain. If you want to talk about Samhain, go talk about Glenn Danzig's band, Samhain, which was probably also actually pronounced Samhain. So, yeah.
So, just, some background on Samhain in general. It marks the year cycling around to the end of the harvest season and the beginning of winter. It was very much seen as a liminal time where essentially the veil between our world and the spirit world was much, much thinner, even to the point where spirits could visit, communicate, and interact with the world of the living. There was a huge amount of rituals and offerings made around this time of the year to appease the spirits and make sure that they had a good harvest for the following year. So a lot of the traditions and things that we're used to seeing, at least as Americans, growing up with our version of Halloween, things like jack-o'-lanterns, bobbing for apples, bonfires, trick-or-treating, dressing up in costumes, everything like that, all of that originated in Ireland and Scotland from bonfires being lit for rituals where the flame and the smoke and the ashes were considered protective. They would do that to make sure that they were going to be safe across this little time of mischief. Speaking of mischief, the kids in the area would absolutely threaten pranks if they went to your door and you didn't offer them little gifts.
That's where the whole term trick or treat came from. It wasn't just hey guys, let's trick or treat and be all cute about it. It was no, give us candy or food or whatever, or we're gonna fuck your shit up. It was a death threat.
Yeah, it absolutely was. And with the whole food thing, they made little dense cakes that they called soul cakes that they would offer to these kids.
You said dense, and I immediately thought about that meme from The Incredibles, you dense motherfucker.
God.
That's how they be looking at these cakes. Yeah. You dense motherfucker.
But that's actually where the first term for trick-or-treating came from. They got soul cakes and they called it souling. So you went souling instead of caroling or trick-or-treating.
Sold it! Sold it! Sold it! Sold it! Sold it!
Yep. And even some people would leave out little offerings of like milk to appease the fairies and keep themselves clear of mischief.
Them fairies be like, we need some milk.
They need some milk.
But that's what I think is cool about this also, is that the spirits or fairies would easily come into the world and were more active during this.
Yeah, and the whole dressing up bit, that typically stems from wanting to ensure your safety by tricking or disguising the spirits that are walking the earthly realm.
Because you're walking amongst the dead.
Amongst the dead. Yeah, so Christians in Europe, specifically in France even, believed that, once a year on Halloween, the dead from the churchyards would rise for, quote, one wild, hideous carnival. And they actually called this the dance macabre, believe it or not.
Hey.
Yep.
Love that.
It was actually often depicted in church decoration from like the 19th century. And it's written that the dance macabre urged Christians to, quote, not forget the end of all earthly things, and may in fact have involved European village pageants and court masks where people dressed up as corpses. So that's probably what we can look at as the origin of Halloween costume parties.
Look, I'm a big fan of corpse paint. So, like, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, I would have fit in during this, okay? I would have 100% fucking fit in these times.
You'd have been the guy that they were worried was an actual witch. And then I would have been burned as an actual witch.
Fuck.
Yeah, bad news for us out there, everybody.
And for the people that didn't dress up or whatnot, there were telltale signs that they still bought into the superstition or the traditions of the origins of Halloween. Jack-o'-lanterns, we mentioned those before, those actually originated as hollowed out turnips. And funny enough, they were named after the lights that flicker over peat bogs, which were called will-o'-wisps. I'm sure you've heard that before.
Yeah. Fun fact, there still is a pro wrestler. I'm kind of veering off here because that just reminded me. Jeff Hardy of the Hardy Boys fame actually has a ring name that he used, not in WWE, called Willow the Wisp.
Oh, I love that.
Yes. And he did like full body paint and all kind of shit with it. Anyway, it's side tangent, but that's what it reminded me of. I thought that's cool because that's where he got it from.
Yeah,
so.
It just shows you how far the culture stretched.
It's interesting to see how it made its way here to America, though.
Yeah, it traveled pretty far. Like I said, it got here around the 19th century. And then Christians, basically, with such a large portion of the population celebrating what they considered to be a pagan ritual. Of course, they didn't want that, but they couldn't make them fully stop. So the best way for them to get around this is to essentially, like I said, bastardize it and turn it into their own thing. So Halloween became Oh Hallows Eve, and then November 1st became All Hallows Day or All Saints Day. And then they even extended it to November 2nd for All Souls Day.
Which is just Day of the Dead everywhere else.
Pretty much. And this all collectively is considered All Hallowtide by the early church.
I'm really going to be celebrating a week of this shit. Everybody's like, oh, we're going on Christmas holiday or we're going on Thanksgiving holiday. I'm like, motherfucker, I'm just extending my Hallow weekend.
Hallow weekend. I like that.
Yeah, you're welcome. Anybody out there, you're welcome to. Just use it.
As far as Halloween goes, I know that you and I had very, very different experiences when it comes to celebrating or not celebrating Halloween.
Yeah, so we will go back and forth. That way, this is not a giant womp womp moment here. So I'm pretty fucking positive that at least 98.25%, I just pulled that number out of my ass, don't quote me. I'm pretty sure that 98.25% of our audience celebrated and still celebrate Halloween to this day, either by themselves or with their families and whatnot. I actually do not remember the first time that I celebrated Halloween. I would say probably 19 that I actually fully was like, yeah, I'm going to do this, because my family on my father's side were Jehovah's Witness. So I didn't get to do shit. Like I'm just going to get the flat point across right there. I didn't get to do shit. I didn't get to do shit for Christmas. I didn't get to do shit. I didn't even get to do shit for my birthday. I didn't get to celebrate my own fucking birthday until I was like 18 or 19. I didn't get to dress up. I didn't get to do trick-or-treating. I think the closest thing that I was able to do is that I would watch Nickelodeon every fucking October religiously. I watched it all the time, but I paid extra attention to Nickelodeon specifically because they did all this cool stuff on TV where they would have this one contest where they would do virtual trick-or-treating and they would win prizes. Like they would have the kids sit there and like go to these like digital houses and knock on the doors at random and they would be like, oh, here's a prize or here you lose or something. Or like They would do Family Double Dare where they had the costumes on, or they, stuff like that, because it was fun. Nickelodeon was targeted to kids. So that's where I was able to absorb most of my stuff. Or then like Goosebumps would be on Fox in the afternoons. So I would watch it. The book fair would come around. I actually was able to buy some Goosebumps and R.L. Stine books. And it was like, that's the closest I got without pissing off certain sectors of my family. So needless to say, my childhood kind of sucked in that regard because I had to watch everybody else do it while I did not get to. And it looked like the most fun. And I think, honestly, that's why it is my favorite holiday, is because, like, I didn't get it as a child. So as an adult, I'm like, no, I'm going to celebrate this fucking shit year round as hard as people celebrate Christmas. That's why I get so fucking offended whenever Christmas decorations and shit go into stores in August. I'm like, dude, suck my ass.
Give me my chance.
Oh, no, it's a takeover. It's not even getting a chance. It's like, no, I'm going to put it right in your face on Front Street year round.
I'm gonna shove a whole pumpkin up your ass.
I really am. Like, people look at me and it's like, yeah, I'm covered like fucking tattoos and I wear like black clothing all the time. It's not an act or a thing. Like, this is me, and fucking deal with it, man.
That vibe is just part of your personality.
It fucking is. It's not even like, oh, he's got a dark sense of humor, or, oh, he likes, horror and metal too much. No, this is my life, goddammit.
Were you not allowed to watch horror movies either when you were that age?
See, that's the fucked up part. Okay, so my dad would be like, oh, no, you don't want that shit in my house. Mm-hmm. My mom was cool as fuck. We had a video store. This is the funniest thing ever, because we owned a video store. Like, whenever I was a kid, my family had a video store from like 1988 to like 1995 or 96. And my dad was a musician, and he would go do gigs every weekend. Like, he would be out of town doing gigs with his band every weekend. So it'd be just me and mom at the house. My mom would check out horror movies and bring them home so we could watch. Like, I saw Nightmare on Elm Street when I was 8.
Oh, gosh.
It was so fucking weird. Like, they got super like uptight about, don't celebrate Halloween. We don't celebrate Christmas. But I was watching like fucking Terminator and RoboCop and horror movies at such a young age because I knew it was make-believe and fantasy. Mm-hmm. And I think my mom didn't give a fuck. I know that. And I think my dad was just kind of like, he didn't know. And if he did know, he didn't really say much else about it because he didn't like catch me doing it. It was one of those fucking things.
Ignorance is bliss in that situation.
Right. But I think it was more or less they were worried about pissing my grandparents off, who were like fucking devout as shit. So
God forbid they think you're a little fucking sinner.
I don't care. It's why I don't believe in God. Legit. It's why I don't believe in God. I'm a fucking agnostic atheist to this day.
It's interesting because I obviously had a very different experience with Halloween growing up. But on my mom's side, because my parents divorced at a very early age, I was like 5, maybe 6 years old tops.
See, I wish I had that instead, because my parents divorced whenever I was like 15. Like, I was like prime in the middle of it in high school, 10th grade. Like, they were splitting. It was kind of devastating, but it was really weird because that was the time right after I started coming into my own and be like, because like I denounced the whole church and all of that shit on my dad's side of the family when I was like 12. And then I vocally was just like, nah, fuck this. I'm done. I'm not doing this.
I don't blame you one bit. I had both sides of it. So like my dad, he very freely let my sisters and I grow up watching almost anything we wanted, pretty much anything we wanted. So we were definitely exposed to horror movies and stuff of that nature at a very young age. Whereas at my mom's, we didn't really watch that stuff or get involved in any of the spooky stuff until it was seasonally appropriate. And then any time throughout the year, I feel like the Harry Potter books are a great example of this for me. If I brought home something related to witchcraft, magic, anything spooky or Halloween related, it was definitely confiscated from me very quickly and seen as like satanic. And it's weird, the juxtaposition of how many Christians celebrate Halloween the way that they do. And then in the same breath or after the holiday's over, be like, no, that's evil. Don't participate.
Music was where I did it. Because like my dad was just like really weird about it. And I think like once I reached like my teen years, it was like, well, I'm getting older, can make decisions for myself, what I would like to listen to, what I would like to watch. I remember collecting Black Sabbath CDs and AC/DC, which a lot of people are like, oh, AC/DC. I'm like, yeah, dude, because at that age, at that time period, the stuff that I was able to get into my fucking house was very much like mainstream acceptable. But if you really dug into some of the shit, like, because you already know, like, AC/DC would have like some of the satanic imagery on some of their shit, and it wasn't even blatant. It was tongue in cheek. It was always tongue in cheek. Black Sabbath, however, did not give a shit. So I was like, I saw the album Paranoid in stores. I was like, I bought it, but I would always see like other bands, like fucking Sepultura. I would see a ton of like metal bands with blatant upfront, like Iron Maiden, all these bands that had these like really skull like type images and satanic imagery. I was like, this is the fucking music I want to listen to. I got to listen to it way later, and I'm still a fan of a lot of that stuff, but it was my gateway, because I didn't get the tradition that everybody got. I got the musical and film gateway into horror and Halloween, and then digging into the actual holiday more as I got older and to now. It's so cool to see where all this came from,
Absolutely.
But your childhood, I couldn't imagine wanting to celebrate Halloween and still being allowed to celebrate Halloween, but also being like in a Christian household that did celebrate it, because the juxtaposition just seemed completely fucking ass backwards.
Yeah, and there were even instances where, when I was younger and trick-or-treating, because we definitely trick-or-treated I trick-or-treated every year up until like my senior year of high school. You could not tell me that I was too old to do it. And you know what? With the right makeup or the right costume, actually, let me just put it this way. Last year, when I dressed up with my family for Halloween, we did all the Toy Story characters. We've got great pictures of this. And I'm 33 years old, and I did participate, and I dressed up as Rex, the dinosaur, giant inflatable dinosaur costume. And wearing this costume, you can't see anything, even in the dark, you can't even see my eyes. Wearing this costume, I legitimately trick-or-treated and got candy as a 33-year-old adult. And let me tell you, that was the biggest rush I got all year. I fucking loved that.
Was it the rush or the sugar rush from all the candy?
A little bit of column A, a little bit of column B.
There you go.
The amount of kids I had running up to me, super excited to see me, wanting pictures with me, getting hugs. That was very heartwarming. I definitely enjoyed doing that. And it was all in good fun. I gave most of my candy to my little niece and nephew, who are both under like 12. So
I have to say my favorite memory of Halloween is also as an adult, getting to trick or treat with my kid.
Mm-hmm.
I got to both do stuff for him and also kind of have something I never had before.
Right.
So my favorite Halloween that I ever did was my son and I dressed up as Mordecai and Rigby from Regular Show.
Oh my gosh.
And the reason why this is so hilarious is because we were very height accurate.
Mm-hmm.
I dressed up as Mordecai. I'm talking like full mask, like it was a full head covered like piece of material and everything with like mesh eyes that I could see out of. And he dressed up as Rigby. And I cannot tell you the amount of compliments and like everything we got on those costumes, because people were laughing because it was so damn accurate. Like tall bird and correctly sized raccoon from the show. That's my me too. That's like my absolute favorite memory of trick-or-treating with him. He's already grown out of it. It's crazy to think that like he started growing out of trick-or-treating and stuff at like 12.
Oh, not me. Not a chance. I to this day would dress up and go trick-or-treating.
Oh, I would too. Trust me. It's fun. But anyway, I digress. Like that's the stuff that, I'm catching up on now as an adult, being able to do this stuff. And then like, having done it with my kid. And now I kind of treat Halloween like Christmas. I really wish we still had, like the neighborhood we live in doesn't really trick or treat. A lot of people around here do that stupid ass trunk or treat bullshit.
My goodness.
There's no fun in that. I get the times that we live in. It's really considered dangerous to just go knocking on doors of strangers. But in my opinion, the people that you go trick-or-treating from their homes, they've already got decorations up. Like it's kind of like leaving the blue light on, if you will, in the front yard. It's like, hey guys, no, we're here. There's candy, trick-or-treat. We don't have that. I love dressing the house up. That's my favorite thing. I want to dress the house up like Christmas, but Halloween. But seeing how it turned a corner, like from the mid 90s to now, it's different. Like I said, with like the trunk or treat kind of thing. Anybody out there listening, do you guys actually still have neighborhoods that trick or treat? I'm pretty sure like in the Midwest, it's got to be huge in the Midwest. Every time I've ever visited the Midwest in the fall, I actually still see trick-or-treating happening on the streets in certain neighborhoods.
I have a really shitty trunk-or-treating experience. It's the only time I went trunk-or-treating, and it was with my friends in high school. I was like a junior in high school. And I got, let me think, a bag of pennies, toothpaste, and a toothbrush. I got a small, one of those like Golden Spine kids books, and an apple. So
straight up apple or on a stick?
No, this was just a straight up apple, not a candied apple, not a caramel apple, just an apple.
Motherfucker, I could go to Kroger and get an apple if I wanted an apple.
Now, granted, I love fruit, but I am more wary to eat an apple from a stranger than I am a piece of candy.
Hey, that's the devil's fruit.
It's the devil.
It's the devil fruit. I do want to point out, though, here in Louisiana, a lot of people don't realize this, but like in the southern region, like mostly Cajun stuff here, this is where like nocturnal masses happen in cemeteries on Halloween night.
Yeah, that was really cool. I actually loved reading about that when I was doing a little bit of research about the holiday and the way that voodoo culture really takes off around this time of the year. New Orleans is absolutely cool to check out any time of the year, but specifically around Halloween time. And you'll find people literally hanging out in graveyards in front of headstones, lighting candles and laying down flowers or little treats all night long, from what I've read. And that is still like done to this day.
Yeah, see, I wasn't kidding you, motherfuckers. Come down to New Orleans where we party. New Orleans. No, for real though, like it's a lot of fun knowing the culture here ties in a lot with this. It's not just like, oh, the voodoo. And it's like, no, dude, like this is historic here.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not just a front. It's historic here.
And they have a lot of museums and stuff like that around where you can walk through and actually learn about the history of those particular practices throughout time. I definitely want to go check that out at some point this year. That'd be sweet.
Yeah, it'd be great.
And listeners, if any of you have ever traveled to a particular area, I know Salem, Massachusetts, it's another great example of an area that is just blooming, absolutely overrunning with Halloween spirit, so to speak. Please let us know your experiences. Send us pictures, all that cool stuff. We love to hear about it. If you've seen a particularly cool attraction or anything like that, that would be super neat to hear about too. I'm always got an ear and an eye open for stuff like that.
Now, I don't know about you guys out there, but like I think one thing for Halloween that I like is my my basic bitch side comes out for pumpkin spice every year. But food was kind of always a thing around this time of year too, because I know right now we were getting into like some of the Christian stuff about it. Like they encourage like abstinence from meat, which a lot of vegetarian options get associated with this, season. Mm-hmm. But it also is like in the northern hemisphere, Halloween has like the yearly apple harvest where like candy apples and caramel apples or taffy apples are made as like treats and stuff. So every time everybody's like, oh, there's like that's why I asked about that. Was it on a stick or was it just a fucking plain apple?
Right.
Because it's like if you're getting a plain apple at Halloween, dude, fuck out of here.
I genuinely, I love apple season. It's one of my favorite of all time. And I love, back where I'm from in Ohio, pumpkin farms are absolutely huge. And down here in Louisiana, it's not as big of a thing because the environment just isn't as conducive to growing the pumpkins and whatnot. But it's a really big deal when I come from. I mean, there's hay rides, there's freshly made apple cider is one of the best things you can ever have. You got freshly jarred pickles of every kind, different types of honey that's been harvested throughout the season, because that's a really big thing around that time of the year as well. And then you have your pumpkin pies and your cookies and your brownies and walnuts and all that good stuff for the year.
So do you want to hear about a funny game involving apples?
Absolutely, I do.
Okay, so there's a lot of traditional activities from where these originated from, absolutely. So you have a traditional activity that came from Ireland and Britain and involves foretelling one's future partner or spouse. So you would peel an apple in one long strip, and then the peel gets tossed over the shoulder, and the peel is believed to land in the shape of the first letter of your future spouse's name.
Oh, wow.
Or 2 hazelnuts would get roasted near a fire, one named for the person roasting them and the other for the person they desire. And if the nuts jump away from the heat, that sounds fucking hilarious. If the nuts jump away from the heat, it's a bad sign. But if the nuts roast quietly, it foretells a good match.
Ooh, a little love connection.
There you go. Just 2 nuts chilling at a bonfire. That's going to be us when we get burned at the stake.
Oh, God.
Just 2 nuts chilling in a fire. Or a salty oatmeal bannock would be baked, and the person would eat it in 3 bites and then go to bed in silence without anything to drink. This is kind of like the Popeyes biscuit challenge. Why the fuck would you do this?
Okay, first of all, let's start off with what are they eating? What is this?
A salty oatmeal bannock. A bannock is a variety of flatbread or quick bread made from flour. It's like round, and this is a common Scottish thing.
Okay.
But yeah, they would eat that son of a bitch in 3 bites and go to bed with nothing to drink. And again, I am very much reminded of the Popeyes biscuit challenge. Like, you ever want to, bring some freakiness into the bedroom? Get a Popeyes biscuit. You don't even need to choke your partner out that way. You just feed him a biscuit with nothing to drink. Same principle.
There are laws against cruel and unusual punishment,
I know. This is supposed to be where the result is a dream in which their future spouse offers them a drink to quench the thirst. So, like, if you go to bed thirsty, look, I don't care who you are. If you go to bed thirsty, you're going to dream about just downing water, like gallons of water. Okay.
He needs some milk.
Needs some milk. Unmarried women were told if they sat in a darkened room and looked into a mirror on Halloween night, the face of their future husband would appear in the mirror. Why the fuck is this the worst game of Bloody Mary of all time?
Oh, Jesus. I don't know if that's scarier or not.
That's a little freaky. You could not get me to do it.
There's a lot of people that still to this day do like mirror gazing or work with black mirrors, and that shit terrifies me for some reason.
Yeah.
It's like me with Ouija boards. I don't do them.
Same.
I don't fuck with them.
Same. But don't you like how this went from, oh, that's cute, throw an apple peel over your shoulder. Oh, that's cute, roast some nuts in a fucking bonfire, to play Bloody Mary to see if you're going to be bloody married.
God.
I have killed Lee, everybody. I do apologize. Cult Macabre will now be a solo podcast. Are you back?
No, I am.
Oh, God damn it.
Satan, give me strength.
I did not mean to moida you.
You moided me.
I moided you. I'm so sorry. Sorry about that. That's kind of a fun thing to fucking leave off on with the stories of games and Bloody Mary. Everybody out there listening, what are your traditions during Halloween? What do you do with your families? What do you do on your own? Is there something that you carried with you from your childhood? Or is there something you've invented? Is there something you have hypothetically pulled out of your ass to do for Halloween? Or do you just shove a whole pumpkin up your butt?
I don't know about you, but I've got this funny little weird Halloween tradition where I watch scary movies with my sister. And I'll do this throughout the year, but it's particularly prevalent around Halloween.
Hi, Lauren.
Yes, my sister Lauren, hello. We have this thing that started as some dumb inside joke where I got jump scared in a movie because I am a very jumpy bitch. I love this shit, but I am a very jumpy bitch.
Oh, I know.
Oh, I know you know. And I got jump scared and I shot my leg out of reaction and it landed in my sister's lap and she grasped it. And now we just have this running like tradition joke of when we watch scary movies, my sister gets to hold my foot. And you know what? It brings me a large amount of comfort. I'm not even going to lie.
That's cool. I don't know that I have like tradition, but I do know that I like to decorate the house up and I like to watch a lot of scary movies. Like I watch scary movies year round, but it's around this time that I sit and I will binge watch from front to back all of the Halloween movies, all of the Friday the 13th movies. We literally just watched all the Nightmare on Elm Street movies together.
And that was fantastic because for most of those, it was my first time watching some of them. So I very much enjoyed that.
And I also very much enjoy, as you'll find out as Cult Macabre continues on its journey into spooky territory, I love watching very awfully done cult films. I love watching very crappy, scary movies. I don't care.
Good, bad, and bad.
Yeah, exactly. I love them. And if they're bad, that's even better. I collect physical media like trophies. I have a ton of movies that I have not even opened yet because I'm sitting here like, this is pristine. Support physical media, everybody.
I know you treasure yours.
I do. But anyway, I'm on a tangent now. So if there are any traditions out there, do you like to collect horror movies? Do you like to collect action figures? Do you like to just sit around with traditional Halloween foods that you and your family make together? Do you still trick or treat? Do you decorate your house? What is your favorite thing to do? Please leave a comment below. For past, present, and future episodes of Cult Macabre, you can subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or YouTube. You can leave us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts. You can leave us a rating and leave individual comments on episodes on Spotify. And if you're listening to this on YouTube, please consider subscribing to the channel, clicking the bell for notifications for future episodes, and maybe leave a like on the video or leave a comment below. Any engagement helps. If you would like to follow Cult Macabre on social media, please use the Linktree link in the show notes below. It will take you literally everywhere that you can find us on the interwebs.
So if you'd like to join us for more of pop culture's dark side, sign the black book and join the cult.
I'm Richie.
And I'm Lee.
We'll see you next time.